Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Shri Radhe Govinda Dev ki jai. Kali Yuga Dharma Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Welcome. Hare Krishna. Good to see everybody back. We are here with day 4 of our Navaratri celebration, where we've been able to celebrate the many different forms of our wonderful goddess. So good to be here with all of you. And today we celebrate the goddess Kushmanda. So we will make sure that we speak about her and everything that she embodies, everything that she can bring to our lives. But first, we have to enter into the divine realm of the spiritual abode. And in doing so, we will chant Jai Radha Madhava. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jannavalabha Girivaradhari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jannavalabha Girivaradhari. Jashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Jamunatiravana Chari. Jashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Jamunatiravana Chari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jannavalabha Girivaradhari. Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Radha Madhava, Radhe Govinda Jaya, Radhe Govinda. Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Shri Radha Govinda Dev ki jai, Shri Vrindavindam ki jai. So, good to be back with all of you again. Good to be back with day 4. Technically, it's like kind of like almost the halfway point of this festival, but there's so much nectar still in store. We are speaking about the goddess Kushmanda. In honoring her, the color of the day is red. Tomorrow, in speaking about Skanda Mata, the color is royal blue. So we'll see what we come up with tomorrow for a nice royal blue color, which is usually kind of a darkish blue. So, one of my friends is saying that it's her birthday. Is it today or tomorrow's your birthday? Today is your birthday. Happy birthday. What a wonderful day to celebrate. And what a wonderful way to celebrate your birthday. I feel honored that you decided to come and spend this point with us. Spend this wonderful occasion with us. Thank you. So, in honoring the goddess Kushmanda, what does this mean? Kushmanda is the goddess who was able to create this entire creation with nothing more than a smile. We've seen the beautiful forms of Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra Devi. Subhadra Devi is none other than the personified form of this internal potency of Sri Krishna, this personified form of Yoga Maya, the personified form of Maha Maya, the personified form of Durga Devi as the younger sister of Sri Krishna. And so we've seen Subhadra Devi's beautiful smile. It is this smile which can create the entire universe. It is this smile which is considered to be the creation point of the light of the sun itself. It is said that after Kushmanda Devi begins her creation of this material universe as the very own potency of Sri Krishna, then she begins to center herself. And in centering herself, she understands that this whole creation was filled with an all-encompassing darkness, which we do hear about within Srimad Bhagavatam and within Brahma Samhita. So we hear about so many from Vedic texts. We hear about this all-encroaching darkness. And so looking at this darkness, having the task of creating, even Lord Brahma himself says, even before there was me, at the dawn of this creation, I saw this divine being. And she knows that there is light that is needed. And so she centers herself, and it is said that she gives the potency from which the sun itself is created. What I love about this beautiful divine goddess is that she often gives credit to others as a complete abode of humility. She will often give credit of creation to others. Brahma is known as a great creator. She even gives credit to her own brother. I simply stand behind him. I am his shadow. So she often says that she is Krishna's own shadow, his internal potency. She just simply stands behind him. Vyasadeva, within the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, even says within a spiritual vision, he sees the divine form of Sri Krishna standing before him, and behind him is his internal potency, who is none other than Durga Devi, in so many different forms. So as an abode of humility, she gives constant credit to others, never striving to take all of the credit for herself and say, no, I am doing all of this. She is such a beautiful personality. In many of her hands, she holds weapons like a mace, a gada, and a chakra. Understanding that she is able to gain the weapon of her own Supreme Lord Krishna. So she has a chakra, she has a gada, she has a sword, so many things, but she also holds a japa mala. So she is able to give wealth, health, and benedictions of healing the heart. It is said that she is centered within the Heart Chakra. And she rules over this chakra. And she is able to heal heartbreak. She is able to heal any ailments that are happening within the heart. If you feel a little uncentered within your heart, you can pray to her for her help. She certainly can understand the hearts of so many living entities who are like her own children. So we can call out to her, "Oh Mother, please protect my heart. Protect my path of devotion. Protect my heart full of devotion." She can heal all kinds of love sicknesses. So as we sang Jai Radha Madhava, we find that in some places within Vrindavan, there are Kali temples. And even within Yavat, which is the abode of Radharani after her marriage, there's a special Kali temple. Why is this? In speaking about this beautiful goddess Kushmanda who can heal love sickness, I thought it would be fun to touch on this pastime. My Guru Maharaj tells this pastime in a series of lectures on the wonderful places of Vrindavan. And he says once, Abhimanyu, or Ayan, who is the husband of Radharani, who we spoke of many times before, he hears that maybe Srimati Radharani is not exactly as chaste as so many paint her out to be. And so he gets very upset. And he takes off into the forest. On the way, who does he meet? He meets Purnamasi, Yogamaya herself, who is none other than this goddess in the most divine, complete, spiritualized form, the great director of pastimes. He meets Purnamasi, and she says, "Oh, Abhimanyu, you seem to be in a great hurry." He says, "Yes, I am leaving this place. I am leaving the region of Vrindavan." And she is quite taken aback. She thinks, well, why? Why would you want to leave this Braj Bhumi? He says, well, I've heard that Sri Radha, I've heard that my wife has been somehow associating with Krishna. And I'm very concerned about this. And as I cannot find a way to control their meetings, I will take my wife, I will take her away from this Vrindavan. We're moving. And so Purnamasi thinks, oh, I see. Well, is there anything that I could say that could persuade you from leaving? Abhimanyu is firm. No. No one can say anything that could persuade me from staying in this place. We are leaving Vrajbhumi. I am taking Radharani. Purnamasi says, very well. And then she races to find the other gopis and Radharani, thinking, Vrindavaneshwari will leave Vrindavan? How is this possible? The queen of Vrindavan cannot leave Vrindavan. If she leaves, everything will cease to be. How can the very queen, the embodiment of all of Vrindavan, how can she leave Braj? This is an impossibility. She races to see Radharani, who is currently in a grove with Krishna. There are many other gopis around. And she tells them of this unfortunate news. Oh, there is terrible news. I have met Abhimanyu on the way here, and he is searching for Radharani. He is gathering up all of his things, all of his cows, and he says he is moving. And he is taking Radharani with him. Everyone is quite upset hearing this news and this turn of events. And so they hear, Abhimanyu is on his way here right now. And Abhimanyu has now called upon his mother, Jatila, who we heard about a few days ago. And she is quite inimical to the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, hoping to keep her very chaste daughter-in-law away from this romancer of all of Vrindavan. And so He is gathered, he is called Jatila. He says, come, we will find Radharani, we will take her away this instant. And so now everyone hears the very grave news, and Krishna says, I will fix this. Everyone thinks, how? How can you fix this, Krishna? I know you are a performer of miracles, but how are you going to fix this? He says, my dear gopis, I need your clothes. He said, what? What are you going to do with our clothes? He says, I have no time to explain. Just give me your clothes. I need whatever extra clothes that you have. And he tells Radharani, he says, you stay here and you pray fervently. Just say all of the most intense prayers that you know. She had a garland in her hand. She said, but I was in the process of offering this garland to you. He says, no problem. Continue offering. Say your prayers, offer this garland, and I will handle the rest. Everyone is running around helter-skelter, trying to figure out how will Krishna manage this. They give him clothes, they give him a choli, they give him so many things, they give him so many different accessories. And Abhimanyu and Jatila arrive upon this scene and they think, how will Krishna manage? What is he going to do next? When Abhimanyu and Jatila arrive, Radharani is praying very sincerely, saying, oh, please be merciful. Please be merciful. Please be merciful. And when they arrive, all they see is Radharani with her many, many gopi friends. Purnamasi is also there, but Krishna is not. Instead, they see a very beautiful, divine deity of the goddess Kali, standing with many weapons, dressed in very, very fine clothes, hair in a top knot, long hair spilling down her back, garlands of forest flowers adorning her chest. And of course, they needed garlands of forest flowers to adorn her chest to make up for the lack of chest that Krishna would have in this disguise. So there's so many garlands adorning her chest. And he stands there. And Jatila says, oh, my daughter-in-law is praying so sincerely, but what is she praying? What is happening? What is she praying for? Why is she praying like this? Oh, please be merciful. Please be merciful. Why is she praying like this? Radharani looks up and she sees her deity of the great goddess. And she hides a very sweet smile, knowing exactly who that deity really is. And so many people are there. Purnamasi says, oh, she is praying. She has heard that she will be leaving Vrindavan very soon. So she's just praying for the safety of her husband. She has heard that his life is in danger. Jatila thinks, what is this? His life is in danger? Who could possibly put my son's life in danger? And at that moment, the great deity of the goddess begins to speak. Oh, residents of Vrindavan, please hear me. Abhimanyu, your life is in danger. Jatila is thinking, oh, now the goddess is speaking. What will happen next? What does this goddess say? Everybody now is, oh, great goddess, we listen to you with bated breath. Please tell us what to do. He says, hearing that you have had the most chaste and beautiful wife in all of Vrindavan, Kamsa wants to kill you. Kamsa himself is arriving here shortly and he will chop off your head. And everyone is thinking, oh no, what is happening? What will happen? He says, oh yes, Vrinda Devi, please tell them that I have foretold this. Vrinda Devi says, yes, the great goddess herself has said that Kamsa has heard about Radharani's purity. Having heard about her chaste purity and her beauty, he's on his way here right now to kill you, Abhimanyu. And so Jatila says, there must be some way to avert this great danger. Devi Ma herself says, no, There is no way to avert this danger. Kamsa is on his way. There is no one who can save Abhimanyu. There is going to be misfortune for all. And Vrinda Devi, who knows the very mind and heart of Sri Krishna himself, is nodding. And Purnamasi is also nodding. Yes, what the goddess says must be true. There's no way to save Abhimanyu. What can be done? Now Jatila is thinking, let me pray. And so she prays, oh great goddess, I will do whatever you say. There must be some way. There must be some way to save my son from this great calamity. Please tell us. The goddess says, there's only one way to avert such a calamity. There's only one way to get rid of such a great disturbance. That only way is, you must allow this most chaste, beautiful, pure, loving girl, this one gopi who has graced your house, you must allow her to come to this spot and worship me every day. And you must promise, you must vow upon your life and upon the life of your son that never will you ever take this girl out of Vrajbhumi. Never will you move her from this place. As long as she is here, your son will be safe. Then and only then will I somehow avert this crisis which is coming for your son. Jatila says, oh yes, I promise. Anything you say, O great goddess. And she encourages her daughter-in-law. Pay your obeisances to the goddess. Offer your garlands. Offer your worship to the goddess. Radharani says, very well. And offers her obeisances to the goddess, who is none other than Krishna himself, having taken the form of Kali, who is just as dark as he is. And she begins to offer her worship to the goddess. And in this way, they promise never ever to take Radharani outside of Vrindavan. So there are temples to the goddess Kali, even within Vrindavan Dham, where the residents lovingly remember these pastimes and worship her with all their hearts and souls, understanding the most wonderful position she takes within the pastimes of Sri Krishna. We'll hear about more ways that she engages herself and others in these pastimes as the days go on, especially on the day honoring the goddess Gauri, and on the day honoring the goddess Katyayani. So we'll hear about very many of those other pastimes. Others are asking, where can we read about this pastime? This pastime is told in a Vrindavan Yatra lecture series, but also it is found within a few parikrama books. So there have been a few parikrama books made by His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj, also by His Holiness Lokanath Maharaj. So those pastimes are also within there. So back to the goddess Kushmanda, always ready to give credit to others. This is the heart of a Vaishnavi, willing to understand that she doesn't have to be recognized as the doer in order to be the doer. It is said in many places within Srimad Bhagavatam that the Lord himself, when everything is resting within him, and this entirety of creation is unmanifest, he feels a certain longing. And Srila Prabhupada in a purport says, how can the Lord of the universe, who is self-satisfied, who is Atmaram, how can he feel some longing? But yet, out of his infinite kindness, he feels a longing, a certain lacking. And what is he longing for? It says he feels a longing for association. And so he glances over the vast area of material creation, and he reawakens all of the living entities, all of the jivas. So we hear that the soul is eternal. And at those times when the bodies are unmanifest, the soul is lying dormant. And the Lord then reawakens the living entities. And he does it because he feels some lacking, a longing within his own heart. The Lord never actually wants to be alone. And so, with one glance, he reawakens all of the living entities just so that he can have newer, fresh pastimes with all of them. The yearning within the heart of the Lord is for each one of us. How magnificent is our Lord, our best friend. How magnificent is this Lord who desires, no matter what, to just have a loving relationship with us. And who can estimate the fortune of those great souls who know about him? Who can estimate the great fortune of those souls who know that they have an eternal relationship with him? And so in reawakening all of these jivas, it is said that we, as living entities, had some sort of desire to become controllers. However, in the spiritual world, there is one controller. Only one boss, one master. And that is Krishna. Even the Supreme Mistress, Srimati Radhika, submits to his mastership. So, when the living entities desire that maybe we should be worshipped the way Krishna has been worshipped, there needs to be a place for that worship to occur. And thus he glances to his internal energy. He glances to the great goddess. And he says, will you create a place wherein all of these living entities can think they will enjoy themselves? She takes upon a thankless task. It is a thankless task because from that moment where she takes upon that service, so many living entities will blame her. From time immemorial, they will blame her. They will blame her for being displaced away from Krishna. They will blame her for the many distractions that the mind creates. They will blame her for the many forms of conditioning that come over the soul. They will blame her for staying away from Krishna for so long. So she takes up a thankless task, a service, knowing that she will be blamed. She even takes the blame for herself. She will take the blame, but she gives the credit to others. How adoring is this wonderful goddess? How beautiful is the wonderful goddess who makes this material creation on the order of her beloved Lord. Knowing that people will blame her for being the veil that covers the face of the Lord. In Srimad Bhagavatam and in so many different Puranas, it is said that illusory energy is like clouds covering the sun. Clouds can never actually cover the sun. However, from our viewpoint, clouds come in and they can cover the sun, and we say the sun is hidden. So now we look and we see the veil of illusory potency, and we say Krishna is covered. And then we blame Maya. We blame that illusory energy for what was originally our own free will, our own choice. And she accepts that blame. In her unlimited capacity to carry any burden, she accepts that blame. And then she makes tests. Who is really sincere? Who really wants to know my Lord? If we want to know her Supreme Lord and our hearts are genuinely sincere, she removes that covering. She disperses the clouds, she removes the veil, and all of a sudden we see the great sun. That is her divine Lord. We see all the secrets of the spiritual world, where she reigns as director of pastimes. If not, she keeps us covered. So in an adaptation of the great form of Devi Kushmanda, I've tried to write a little bit about her. They say the true nature of the universe is like night, the dense darkness almost constricting in its all-encompassing, overwhelming presence. The supreme, unchangeable, ever-existing, primeval Lord was resting in that darkness. But somehow, the magnanimous Lord of all felt that something was missing. With a glance, the atmosphere stirred and pulsed. In an instant, his potency was manifest. Her 10 arms instill protection, courage, love, and blessings upon those who would come to be under her care. Seated on a lion, she exhibited her inherent prowess and heroism. It seemed as though she held within her beautiful hands all pious activities. She was undoubtedly the unconquerable mistress of time. How could she be anything less when she was the very energy of the Supreme, his very own shadow, a goddess fit to rule? But where was her kingdom? Understanding the heart of her master, the goddess smiled. With nothing more than that simple act, the entire material creation as we know it came to be. 14 worlds with upper, middle, lower planetary systems, the heavens, earth, and everything in between suddenly existed. This is Devi Dham, and Kushmanda, the one who created the worlds with her gentle glance, is its deity. Innumerable beings exist under her affectionate care. For those who wish to surround themselves in a life of material pursuits, never questioning what more there could be to the feelings that set the soul aflame, she creates an expert web of entanglements. Lifetimes could be spent trying to decipher her illusions, and still it would be impossible. Her name means illusion itself, Maya. How can we decipher the web of illusions cast by her? Our little inconceivable, our mental speculation is nothing compared to what she can conceive, compared to what she can weave. Our prowess is nothing. But for those who choose to answer the call of devotion, the one that stirs the heart and quickens the pulse, for those fortunate few, she ushers them along, past the veil of illusions, and introduces them to her very own master, if she deems them worthy. Within her kingdom, she is the ultimate judge. Her gracious smile belies her fierce nature. She is the destroyer of vice and the upholder of virtue. She is celebrated as the younger sister of her master, and her glories are sung by the greatest of gods, including Lord Brahma, the father of the universe. Even he makes his home within the kingdom of the goddess. But her secret, her most carefully guarded treasure, is the Lord of her heart. She protects him with her entire existence. She stands behind him and acts according to his will. If you have passed her tests and fulfilled all of her demands, if your heart is pure and she has examined every fiber of your being, then and only then will she give you a glimpse of that deity that she holds dearest to her own heart. O great goddess, O goddess who knows the heart of Govinda, I pray that you gift me with a heart worthy to be shown Govinda's magnificence, Govinda's glories, Govinda's pastimes, of which you are the supreme director. I pray that you will reveal to me the sound of his beautiful flute, that you will reveal to me the sound of his very own voice calling me home. I pray that you will judge me worthy. You rule over the heart chakra. Look into my heart and know that there is devotion there. It's sometimes hidden. Sometimes it's hidden under so many layers of selfish desires that I still harbor. But there is devotion there. If anyone can find it, it's you. Find that pure-hearted devotion and heal me. Heal me of those selfish desires that keep me far away from Govinda. And in your infinite kindness, take me under your wing. Teach me. Heal me with your unlimited mercy and bring me ever closer to the feet of Govinda Dev. This is my prayer, to become worthy of regaining that association with my Lord who is eager for my own association. All it takes is sincerity. That is it. A heart full of sincerity, a heart of determination. She can heal our hearts. She can teach us. She can let us know that we are worthy. And all it takes is for us to be sincere in loving devotion. Now, the great goddess Kushmanda holds within one of her hands a japa mala. But what is she fond of chanting? It is said that all of the power that she has to grant mystical potencies, siddhis, and all kinds of things to her devotees, she holds all of that power within that japa mala. Some days we look at our japa mala. Some days we think about our japa. Do we think of it as equally as powerful? Equally as potent? Holding the secrets to all mystical abilities. Holding the secrets to love itself. Do we think that it holds the secrets to all of the treasures of our hearts? Well, this is what the goddess has endowed within her own japa. And holding a japa mala, she must chant something. So what is the goddess fond of chanting? In very many stories told by our Vaishnav acharyas, we hear that she asks Lord Shiva, her very own husband, who she considers to be her guru and the guru of the entire universe. She says, "Oh, my husband, what is the best mantra you know?" And he begins to chant the names of Ram. Ram, 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 Ram. He says, this is the best. This is the best mantra I know. Our Lord Ram, it says that just 3 names of his, the whole Vishnu Sahasranam is encompassed within the name of Sri Ram. And she looks at her husband in great ecstasy and she thinks, wow, this must be the most amazing mantra. And she says, but, my beloved, you wouldn't hide anything from me, would you? Mahadev says, of course not, Devi. You are the heart of my heart, privy to all the knowledge I have within my heart. And then she says, well, then is there a mantra more concentrated than the name of Ram? And the Lord Mahadev himself only has to think for a moment before he utters the name Krishna. This name of Krishna is even more concentrated sweetness than the name of Ram, according to Lord Shiva's own opinion. And he begins to chant the name of Krishna, 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 Krishna. It is for this reason that he yearns to go to Vrindavan Dham in so many different forms. Nandishwar Hill. He yearns to be that abode that is the very house and the playground of Krishna in his childhood forms. Asheshwar Mahadev yearns to hold the childlike form of Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. He is swept away in the ocean of sweetness that is the name of Sri Krishna. However, Parvati Devi, the great Devi Kushmanda herself, she feels that maybe her Lord is holding out. There is something even sweeter, something more magnificent that her Lord has not yet spoken about. And so she asks one more time, Prabhu, O Master, Swami, Lord of my life, is there anything else you have not told me about? And from the writings of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we hear of something incredibly special. We hear of something almost unheard of any other time. And I have tried to adapt from this wonderful work that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written. And it is from a book called The Hidden Treasure of the Holy Dham. So now, we enter into this beautiful pastime at the point where she's wondering, is there anything else? Is there a mantra with more concentrated sweetness than that of the name of Krishna? The most peculiar chanting was taking place on Kailash Parvat. Parvati Devi left her chambers to follow the sound of her husband's deep and melodious voice. Gauda, 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 Gauda Hari, Gauda Hari, oh Gauda Hari. The sound of his damaru drum accompanied his singing. Lord Shiva danced, swaying back and forth. His eyes closed deep in trance. His matted locks covered with ash swirled around him, looking like a second effulgence. His body trembled with ecstasy, and Parvati watched, stunned for a moment, before she glanced around the courtyard with wide, inquisitive eyes. Nandishwar, Nandi, and the others looked just as confused as their queen. What was this mantra her Lord was chanting? She had never heard anything so beautiful before. What or who was this Gauda? At the mere thought of this word, she felt her heart blossom with feelings of love. Goosebumps erupted across her arms, and she closed her eyes in amazement. Letting the sound of this divine mantra enter her ears and dance within the courtyard of her very own heart. Again and again, Lord Mahadev chanted his mantra, Gauda Hari, Gauda Hari, Gauda Hari. It seemed as though no matter how many times he chanted it, he could never hear enough of this mantra, and he went deeper and deeper into trance. Finally, Unable to cage her curiosity any longer, Parvati Devi ventured closer to the Lord, reaching a gentle hand out to him. As she placed her petal-soft hand on his outstretched arm, he froze in the middle of his dance. His dark, intense eyes opened and searched the area around them for a moment, settling on Parvati's beautiful face. His features softened with tenderness as he gazed at his wife. A smile curved onto his lips and he inclined his head toward her. Parvati's eyes dropped downward, overcome as she was with a shyness that colored her cheeks a delicate pink. But she could not be distracted from her earlier interest in this new mantra. She had to know her husband's secret. Glancing up at him from under long lashes, she spoke. "Swami, what is this new mantra you are chanting? Until today, I have heard so many mantras and tantras, but nothing like this. My entire heart is melting watching your dancing and hearing this divine mantra. What is this Gaura? Just the recitation of this one word somehow makes me feel as though I could chant his name for the rest of eternity." And it was true. Just as Parvati uttered the name that Lord Shiva had been chanting, she felt her heart burst with 1,000,000 different emotions. She felt as though the life she had been living up to that point had been a dream, and that with this new mantra her real life had just begun. Lord Shiva's face lit up with the most majestic, wide smile, and he sighed with joy. He closed his eyes briefly, once more entranced, meditating on the golden form that had held his mind and concentration captive for the past hours. Or was it moments? He could no longer tell. Time was lost in his trance, but he held tight to the words of his beloved as an anchor to the external world, before his own world of devotion and dreams pulled him back into its depth. Forcing his eyes open as wide as they would go, Mahadev led Parvati Devi to a seat at the foreground of the courtyard. With his hands on her shoulders, he guided her gently to her seat before he took his own next to her. Some say that Mahadev, when he speaks all of this divine knowledge, he gives her a different seat. Her divine asana is his lap, always. So some say that he takes a seat next to her, and some say that he sits down and seats his wife on his lap and says, when he gazed upon her face, his smile was full of secrets. "Because you are the divine energy of the Supreme Lord himself and an expansion of the Supreme Goddess, Sri Radha, I will now explain the crest jewel of all truths and the greatest secret I know." Lord Shiva glanced back and forth, sweeping the courtyard for any he might have deemed unworthy to hear of this incredible secret he was about to divulge to the other half of his soul. Once satisfied, he continued in a voice no more than a whisper. "Accepting the mood of ultimate devotion, the mood of Srimati Radharani, the Supreme Lord will descend in the age of Kali Yuga as the Golden Lord. He will appear as the son of Sachi Devi, and shining like a bright golden jewel, intoxicated with his pastimes of chanting the holy name in kirtan, he will distribute the nectar of divine love to the entire universe. I cannot even imagine the terrible fate for one who does not taste a drop of the flood of love of God. His life is completely wasted. Just remembering the promise of my Lord that he will come, I am drowning in an ocean of divine love. I want to give up all patience and run to the city of Navadvip, build a simple hut, and spend the rest of my days worshipping that golden Lord." True to his own word, Lord Shiva was thrumming with excitement. He could no longer stay seated and jumped up from his seat, swaying again and crying out the name of Gauda Hari. Parvati watched him, perplexed as his words created a constant mantra within her mind. What was the fate of one who did not catch the tidal wave of that flood of love of God? Their life was wasted. Their life was wasted. Their life was wasted. Parvati's heart clenched painfully, and taking advantage of her husband's spontaneous dive into his meditation on Lord Gora, Parvati immediately ran from their abode in Kailash and traveled as fast as she could to the city of 9 islands, Navadvip. Arriving at the second of the 9 islands, Parvati Devi decided that it was there that she would stay and meditate upon Lord Gora until she could see him face to face. And over the past 3 days, we have been hearing of Parvati Devi's intense meditation. If anyone can perform meditation, it is Parvati Devi. Such unwavering and fixed determination had not been seen since the times that she sat in severe penance to gain Mahadev as her very own husband. She would do anything in order to see the Lord. She had to. Her entire existence was at stake. In a small hut, she sat completely still, her eyes closed to everything around her, uttering the vibration of the Lord's name that she had heard from Lord Shiva. All was still and quiet around her except for the constant sound of her meditation and her mantra, Gauda, 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 Gauda. Deeper and deeper she went, meditating on Lord Shiva's brief description of the Supreme Lord with the color and mood of Parvati Devi's own goddess, Sri Radha. What an exquisite form that must be! Parvati Devi yearned with all her heart to see the most merciful and magnanimous form of Gauda, 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 Gauda Hari. She burned within her heart to see the jewel that had never been seen before, giving a gift that had never been given before. Her heart overflowed with a feeling of mercy and grace. Her face felt warm, and Parvati opened her eyes. Before her stood the most beautiful person she had ever seen. His body was the color of molten gold, with an effulgence which was even brighter. His arms were very long and graceful, reaching nearly to his knees. His curly black hair framed his majestically sweet face. His eyes were wide and reddish, like the petals of a lotus, which were coaxed open by the rising sun. Pundarikaksha. His eyes were filled with unshed tears of the deepest emotions, and through it all, his entire body vibrated and trembled with divine, ecstatic love. Love like Parvati Devi had never felt before, radiated from him like a second, brighter, fuller effulgence, filling the entire space and nearly overwhelming her. She realized at that moment that she was still murmuring his name, Gauda, Gauda, Gauda. Her voice was choked with emotion, and the name was barely audible, but she couldn't stop. There was no doubt about who stood before her. Parvati pressed her forehead to the ground at his feet, which felt like the shelter of all the universes. And once she found that shelter, she could no longer hold back her despair. Tears fell unchecked from her eyes, and her body was racked with heart-wrenching sobs. She trembled with the force of her sorrow, but the sound of her Lord's voice slowly brought her out of that deep, dark place. "O Parvati, why have you come here? What is the cause of these tears and this sorrow?" He extended his long arms out to her, and Parvati Devi felt that with those two strong arms he could hold the entire universe. He was the support and maintenance of everything, everywhere, and everyone. Parvati had firm faith that if anyone would be able to help her, the Lord of her heart could, and out of his unimaginable kindness, surely he would. O Lord of the universe, although you are merciful to everyone, this mercy is the cause of my distress. You have given me jurisdiction over all living beings who turn away from you. You have given me this material world as my kingdom, and it is you who have given me the task of keeping those living entities entangled in material conditioning. I must keep the living entities bound in the material world. I am illusion personified. But in this work, I have been cheated out of the most priceless gift of divine love that you have now come to inundate this world with. It is said that wherever there is Krishna, there is no Maya, no illusion. And because of this promise, I must always remain in the material world, outside of your spiritual realm. But now you have come to turn the entire material world into your spiritual abode. How will I ever see your pastimes? How will I ever receive your mercy? If I am bereft of this great treasure of divine love, then my entire existence is forfeit. If you cannot offer me a way, then I am completely without hope. Having expressed her heart's deepest desires, Parvati Devi again let her head fall at the lotus feet of Lord Gaura Sundar. She delicately took the dust from his lotus feet and placed it within the parting of her hair, which was usually decorated with the bright red vermilion powder, which signified her divine marriage to Lord Shiva. It was now decorated with the jewel-like dust from the lotus feet of the Lord, as he was her ultimate Lord and Master. The Lord smiled a smile full of compassion and sweetness. That sweetness melted the heart of Parvati Devi, and she held her breath as she waited for his next words. His deep voice was as soothing and gentle as the all-pervading quiet of snowfall on Mount Kailash. O Supreme Goddess, as my energy, you are non-different from me. My divine energy takes two forms. Within the spiritual world, Sri Radha is the original form of my internal energy. When my divine energy manifests its external feature within this material world, Sri Radha, the supreme feminine, expands herself and is represented by you. Without you, my pastimes could not be accomplished, for you are Yogamaya in the spiritual world. Your assistance is necessary to enhance my Leela, my pastimes. You are actually never, ever separated from me, but because of your love, you have taken on such service just for my sake. Here in this material world, you are Mahamaya, goddess of illusion and queen of this realm. But here in this Navadvip, O goddess, I have a special task for you. The Lord had a gleam in his eye, and at the mention of this special service, Parvati Devi lifted her face to concentrate fully on the beatific face of her Supreme Master. Here in Navadvip, this holy land shall be yours and yours alone to protect. Please stay here with your dear husband, Lord Shiva, and protect my divine realm at all costs. All those who are not devotees of mine at heart should not be given access to this place. They may be able to enter with their bodies, but their minds and hearts should be restricted from understanding the true nature of this abode. In addition, those who are my devotees, in their hearts, you should guide them closer to me. You have the great responsibility of protecting my most sacred abode and my home. Having said this, the Lord then disappeared from her view. Parvati now cried tears of relief and gratitude. She could now understand the importance of Lord Gaura Sundar's words. She was never away from him. Although it was said that wherever there was Krishna, there could be no Maya, through the blessings of her most merciful Lord, she now understood the full nature of who she was. Once again, She took the dust of Lord Gora's lotus feet and put it upon her head. She looked at the beautiful place that would now become her new home. With immense love blooming in her already full heart, she pressed her palms together and raised them to her head in salutation. There was much to be done, for the Lord was coming. Because Parvati Devi placed the dust of the Lord's lotus feet on the parting in her hair, Simanta, she became known as Simantini Devi, and is worshipped on the island known as Simantadweep, which gained its name from this beautiful pastime between Parvati Devi and Lord Chaitanya, Lord Gaura Sundar. Because Maya Devi has been instructed to protect this spiritual land of Navadweep, some great teachers are of the opinion that this is why the land is called Mayapur, or the city of Maya Devi. She is the mistress there and is worshipped as Prodamaya, along with her beloved Lord Shiva. They are able to delude and confuse those who would blaspheme the Lord and his devotees, but are also able to guide the devotion of those who are serious about their loving relationship with Lord Gauranga. Having heard of Maya Devi, I was often apprehensive of her growing up. Hearing stories of how she was engaged in keeping all the living entities entangled in their material hang-ups naturally made me want to steer clear. If I wanted to have any kind of lasting relationship with the Lord of my heart. But hearing stories like this remind me that she is first and foremost a supremely exalted devotee of my same Lord, and she is the keeper of divine love. And she is engaged in a task which is ultimately a service meant to help me immensely. Not only that, but she has the ability to guide me closer in my devotion, if my heart is true. With lessons like these, I have come to realize that Maya Devi, Parvati Devi, Simantini Devi, Kushmanda Devi can become our best friend, our greatest well-wisher, our divine mother, our supreme shelter. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that the spell of illusion which covers the knowledge of the living entity is insurmountable. However, one who surrenders unto Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, can conquer this seemingly insurmountable spell of Maya. Which is not astonishing, considering that she is eager to help those who have surrendered to her elder brother. I offer my obeisances to Maya Devi, Simantini Devi, Kushmanda Devi, who chants as her own mantra the name of Lord Gauranga. I offer my obeisances to that great goddess who is the abode of illusion, who can create all mystical potencies with no more than a thought. She is a goddess of illusion for those who have forgotten their relationship with the divine, but she is a necessary protector of the divine pastimes for those who are always engaged in loving play with our dearest Lord. I offer my obeisances to this goddess who only acts according to the grace of Govinda. I pray to cultivate true devotion in my heart so that this divine goddess will see fit to guide me closer to Lord Gauranga and Lord Govinda. She can cure the love sickness, which is brought about by us forgetting our relationship with our divine, supreme Lord. Just as she is never far away from him, neither are we. With her guidance, with her instruction, with her tutelage, we can gain back that relationship. We can cure the sickness in our hearts. We can gain back the greatest love story of our existence, the one between us and the Lord of unlimited grace. Kushmanda Devi ki jai, Ambe Mata ki jai, Simantini Devi ki jai, Lord Goda Sundara ki jai. This is our goddess. This is our friend, our mother. She is helping us every moment, every second. So tomorrow, we will hear about Skandamata, the mother of Kartikeya, the mother of the commander-in-chief of the gods, the great hero of the army of the celestials. Her color tomorrow is a royal blue. So we are eager, excited to hear about what will come next. Until tomorrow's adventure, I wish you all blissful meditations on the Divine Goddess and the Lord of our hearts. I wish you all the best evening, morning, afternoon, and I can't wait to see you all next time. Until then, Shri Shri Radhe Govinda Dev ki jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Shri Mayapur Dham ki jai. All glories to the protectors of the divine abodes, Parvati Devi and Mahadev. All glories to all of you. Thank you for being here. Until we meet again, Hare Krishna.